So Novak Djokovic and Dan Evans, they're facing off in the third round. The third round of Monte Carlo. Now Djokovic had played a good match today, and it was against Yannick Sinner. It was against the rising teenager, the rising Italian teenager. He was able to beat him 6-4, 6-2, and that was a good win because Djokovic. It was a good win for him because I kind of thought that he was strong. I thought Sinner would get a set because maybe Djokovic would be a little rusty. I thought maybe he wouldn't be at his best because he would be rusty. He hasn't played in some time, and it's also a new surface. So I thought maybe he would struggle, but he was able to bring out a good performance, and he was able to beat him in straight sets. So that's a good encouraging win for him because he'll wanna win Monte Carlo again if he can, and he can obviously beat Rafa if he's at his best, but he has to be at his absolute best to be able to beat Rafa. So we're gonna see what can happen. Now Evans, he's also played well, and he's not normally known for his clay court prowess. He did play an event in Sardinia, and he lost to the rising teenager from another rising teenager from Italy, but it was Musetti this time. He lost to him after having match points, so he would have been disappointed knowing that he could have won it. He had a match point. He would be disappointed knowing that he could have won it, but he didn't. And also, he'll be happy now. He'll be happy that he got a couple of victories under his belt because he's not really known for his clay court prowess, but he was still able to beat some good opponents. He did beat last year's finalist Dusan Lajovic in 3 sets. He beat him in 3 sets, and then he beat Hubert Hurkacz, only losing 5 games. So he beat Dusan Lajovic 6-3, 6-7, 6-2, and Hurkacz 6-4, 6-1. So he will be confident against his clash with Djokovic in the third round. Now, Djokovic and Evans, they've never met, so they have a head-to-head record of 0-0. So this match, it's Evans has played well so far, and he has had a good year this year. He won the title. He's came close to beating some quality players such as Federer. He's come close to beating, so he's in good form. But I'm still gonna pick Djokovic in 2 sets. I think it'll be tight because Evans is playing well, but I think it's gonna be maybe Evans can push it to a tiebreak. But I'm gonna pick Djokovic in 2 sets because he looked really good in his opener, and I think he can keep that up. So my prediction is Djokovic in 2 sets, in straight sets. So Fabio Fognini and Filip Krajinovic, they're facing off in the third round of Monte Carlo. Now Fognini has looked good in his 2 matches so far. He first played against Kecmanovic and he beat him 6-2, 7-5 in a fairly comfortable win. He then played against Thompson and he beat him 6-3, 6-3. So those are some good wins for Fognini, especially because he's that kind of player that can do really well when he's really focused and he's really dialed in. But then when sometimes he's not focused and he's a little bit off, he can lose to players that are ranked way below him. So it's good to see him do well in these first 2 matches because against Krajinovic, he's gonna have to really bring on his best game because Krajinovic is a very great player, especially on the clay courts too. So that's something we have to know. Now Krajinovic has looked also good in his first 2 matches here. He first played Basilashvili in the first round, and Basilashvili had to retire due to an injury, but he was doing pretty well in those first 2 sets. He then played against Londero, and he crushed him, beat him 6-0, 6-3. So he's played really well so far in his first 2 matches, and he'll be confident knowing that he's defeated Fognini before. And not only knowing that, but knowing that Fognini sometimes can be a little bit unpredictable. So we're going to see if he can maybe do something here. Maybe he can be able to cause the upset and beat Fognini. Now, Fognini and Krajinovic, they've met twice officially, and Krajinovic won both those matches. But they did meet in an event in Italy, an unofficial event in 2012, and Fognini won that one in 3 sets. But in their official match, they played one on clay, and Krajinovic won that one 6-4, 6-0. And in Balzo on a hard court, Krajinovic has also won that 6-2, 6-4. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Fonini can win this, or it's Krajinovic. Maybe Krajinovic can draw confidence that he's beaten Fonini before in both of their official previous encounters. So right now, I would have backed Fonini, but the way that Krajinovic has played, he's played really well so far. He's played extremely well, and I'm going to back him in 3 sets. I think he can cause the upset. I think he's the stabler of the two players. I think he's more of a steady performer, while Fonini sometimes is a little bit erratic. He's a little up and down. I think Krajinovic is more stable. He's more consistent. So as a result, I'm going to back him to win this in 3 sets. I don't think it's going to be straight sets. I think it's going to be a third set. But I'm going to back Krajinovic to win this in 3 sets simply due to his stability and his consistency. So Krajinovic in 3 sets is my pick. So Casper Ruud and Pablo Carreño Busta, they're facing off in the third round of the Monte Carlo Masters. Now, let's start with Ruud's results. So far he's played 2 matches. He's not a seed, so he didn't get the bye. But he has done well in both of his matches. He played the up and coming Rune in the first round, who did well in some of the clay events back in the Golden Swing, so he was a tough opponent. But he was able to defeat him. He crushed him 6-2, 6-1. So good win for Casper Ruud. He then played Schwartzman in the round of 32, and Schwartzman was a player that he might have had trouble against, because Schwartzman has beaten Ruud. He had beaten Ruud 4 times. So Ruud had never won a match against Schwartzman. It was a 4-0 head-to-head lead in favor of Schwartzman, but Ruud was able to turn that around, and he was able to win it in straight sets, 6-3, 6-3. He didn't even allow Schwartzman to break. He only allowed him one break point, and he wasn't able to convert that. So it was a really great win for Ruud, and because he'll have to be at his best if he wants to beat Carreño Busta here. Now, Carreño Busta, he also has played 2 matches. While he is a seed, he's not part of the top 8 seed, so only the top 8 seed in this tournament get a bye. So as a result, he had to play 2 matches. He didn't have the luxury of getting a bye after his tournament. So he has been in good form this year, Carreño Busta. He won a tournament in Andalusia, the inaugural Andalusia Open. He won that one. He defeated Joe Munar in the final, and he might have been a little upset not to have the luxury of getting a bye after that, because he would have probably enjoyed having maybe the extra rest, because he had just played a tournament. He had played a couple of 3-set matches in that tournament. So I'm sure that he would have probably preferred if maybe he would have the rest. Maybe he would have had a little time to rest before he's playing the next tournament. But he was still able to do well. He played against Travaglia and he beat him 7-5, 7-6. So a tight win for Carreño Busta there. And he played against Khachanov, and Khachanov had done well, beating the Sardinia Open champ. The Sardinia finalist. Jer was a champ at the Sardinia Open last year, but this year he made a final but lost to Sonego. So Khachanov defeated Jera 6-4, 6-1, and he was an opponent that maybe you thought could beat Carreño Busta, but Carreño Busta was able to prove them wrong, and he beat Khachanov 6-2, 6-3. So he's playing well now, even though he didn't get the luxury of having a little bit of rest before the new tournament. He's played well so far, and he's shown that maybe he doesn't even need the extra rest. He's okay playing the way he is. So we're gonna see, because Carreño Busta is also a good clay court player. So we're gonna see if he can beat Ruud here. Now, Carreño Busta and Casper Ruud, they've met twice, and it's a 1-1 head-to-head deadlock. Their first meeting was in 2017. Both of their meetings have been on clay, by the way. And their first meeting was in 2017. Carreño Busta won that one 2-6, 7-5, 6-0. And in Kitzbühel in 2019, in the Austrian city, in Kitzbühel, the tournament there, Ruud won that one 6-1, 3-6, 6-1. So we're going to see whether Carreño Busta can who's going to win this. Now, my pick, I'm going to pick Carreño Busta to win. I think he's looked good, especially against Khachanov. He was really impressive. So I'm going to pick Busta to win this. I think that Ruud is going to take a set, But I think that Carreño Busta's experience, I think his maybe more consistency and his experience at this level is going to help him get over the line. So I'm going to pick Carreño Busta to win this in 3 sets. So Lucas Pouille and Davidovich Fokina, they're facing off in the third round of Monte Carlo. Now, Pouille, he's had some good matches so far in this tournament, especially because last year he got injured. He was coming back from surgery. He wasn't really at his best. He struggled to string. He didn't even play at all last year. This year, he started by playing in the challenger circuit, and he didn't really do so well because he was not able to string so many good wins together consistently. But it's good to see him that now he's starting to play a little better so far. So Lucas Pouille so far, he has played 2 matches. He first played against Pella and he beat him 6-3, 6-4. And it was a good win because Pella is good on the clay court, so it was a good win for Pouille because he was able to beat Pella in straights. And then he now beat Poprin. He was able to beat Poprin in straight sets 7-5, 2-6, 6-3. And it was a good win for Pouille, especially because Pouille, Poprin is in good form. He won the title in Singapore. And while he may not be as good on clay as he is on the hard courts, it was still a good win for Pouille because that was one of his best wins since he's come back from surgery. The Pella win was the best win I think he's had since he's come back from surgery last year. So it's been some good wins for Pouille, and we're gonna see if he can beat Davidovich Fokina, which would be a good win for him to get back his form. Now, Davidovich Fokina has also had some really good wins. He first played against Alex de Minaur. He beat him 6-4, 7-6. And he then played Berrettini, and he beat him 7-5, 6-3. So it's been some good wins because Berrettini is a top 10 player. And that was Davidovich Fokina's first top 10 win at all in his career. So it was a good win for Davidovich Fokina because he can definitely do well, especially on these clay courts. He's good on the clay courts. He can do well on the clay. So we're gonna see if he can beat Pouille here, because Pouille looks like he's having a resurgence. Now, Pouille and Davidovich Fokina, I don't think they've ever met. No, they've never met. So their head-to-head is 0-0. So my prediction here, I think that while Davidovich Fokina is kind of the favorite, I'm going to pick Pouille to win this one and make it to the quarterfinal. I think he's having a resurgence of form. I think he's having a resurgence. He's getting back his form. And I think that he's had some good victories. He beat Poprin. He beat Pella. He's having some good wins. So I'm going to pick Pouille to win against Davidovich Fokina here. I think he can beat him. I think they haven't played, so no head-to-head is going to be considered. So I'm going to pick Lucas Pouille to win this in 3 sets and make it to the quarterfinals. To make it to his first tour level quarterfinals since in a long time. So I'm going to pick Lucas Pouille in 3 sets here.